Imagine it's late one afternoon and you decide to get on your phone and begin browsing through social media. After some time, you happen to come across a video talking about the current state of the economy and how you should be preparing now for the coming inevitable and impending recession.
The Federal Reserve is blaming itself for a failure of oversight that contributed to the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank last
A few swipes further and you're met with another video of someone telling you how they became financially wealthy by taking advantage of a little known secret and how they can teach you to do the same simply by enrolling in their paid course. As you continue to scroll, you're presented with varying messages by so-called experts telling you everything from why the stock and real estate markets are going to crash to the best credit card hacks and the stocks and business opportunities you should be jumping into now so you don't miss out. With so many messages telling you to do this and that with your money, it can feel like you ought to be doing all of these things at once and that everyone else seems to have it all figured out while you're left putting down your phone, feeling just as directionless as you did when you picked it up, with no real conclusion on what you can do to secure your financial future. In a situation like this, you may wonder to yourself, as the poet T.S. Eliot did, where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge, and where is the knowledge we have lost in information? If you've ever felt this way, then it's important to know that you really aren't alone. With the endless sea of messages surrounding personal finances today, it can really be difficult to cut through the noise and pull out useful knowledge you can apply to your own life. But in today's video, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Hi, I'm Austin. I'm an accountant and personal finance nerd, and today we're talking about the optimal way for you to invest your money and how to do that following 7 tried and true steps. Not every step may apply to you, but if followed, these steps will take you from being someone who feels lost in knowing where to get started to helping you lay a solid foundation to achieve financial stability now and get you set up for building wealth in the future. So let's get into them. Number 1 on our list is the widely known, somewhat boring, but well-respected emergency fund. If you've ever talked to someone in finance or listened to a video by Dave Ramsey, then you've probably heard this step preached a lot. And for a good reason too. Life can be wildly unpredictable, throwing all sorts of oh crap emergencies your way, like medical expenses, car repairs, or the loss of a job. The importance of having this oh crap insurance in place can't be overstated, and the greater your savings, the greater peace of mind you can have. At a bare minimum, you should have 1 month's worth of living expenses in place to cover any immediate emergencies, and ideally build up your savings to at least 3 to 6 months of expenses to handle any larger, unexpected circumstances. Having this in place will also ensure that you never have to touch any of your other investments and disrupt their growth over the years. Now, where should you be stashing your emergency fund? You could go the traditional route and place it in a savings account at your bank, earning next to nothing in interest, but I would recommend finding what's called a high-yield savings account. Right now, most of these accounts give you about 4% in interest on your balance, currently aligning with inflation, meaning you'll maintain your purchasing power and make the most of your savings. Once you have an emergency fund in place, the next step is the 401k employer match. There are very few investments that can guarantee a risk-free rate of return and virtually none that can guarantee a rate as high as 100%, but that is exactly what the 401k match can do. Let's say you make $50,000 a year and your employer offers a 100% match on up to 4% of your salary. In this case, if you contribute $2,000 through the year to your 401k, your employer will match that, adding an additional $2,000, effectively doubling your investment with no risk to you. Now, a factor to consider with this step is how long you plan to stay with your employer and if they have a vesting schedule. Oftentimes, employers require you to work a certain period of time, usually a few years, before you're fully entitled to the funds that they contribute to your match. So make sure you're aware of any time restrictions your employer has, especially if you don't plan to stick around for long, since you don't want to be leaving any money on the table. Not all employers offer a 401k or an employer match, but if they do, make sure to take advantage of this since it's like finding free money on the ground and it's a powerful way to boost your retirement savings. Number 3 on our list is to pay off your high interest debt. There's a lot of debate on what is considered a high interest rate, but in my opinion, this would be any debts you have sitting around 7% or higher. These could include things like student and personal loans, auto loans, and credit cards. The reason you would want to pay off these debts first before investing your money elsewhere is because of the guaranteed return you'll have in savings. Right now, the average credit card interest rate is a whopping 20%, while historically the stock market has returned an average of around 8 to 10% annually. Given that information, I would much rather guarantee myself a 20% return on my money by paying off the credit card rather than hoping for a higher return in another investment that isn't guaranteed or consistent. When it comes to paying off your debts, you have 2 popular strategies to choose from: the snowball method and the avalanche method. If you want to learn more about these approaches, be sure to check out my other video going over these strategies in detail and explaining how you can implement them. Once you've paid off all of your high interest debts, you're ready to move to the next step, which is maxing out an HSA or health savings account if one is available to you. In order to have an HSA, you must be enrolled in what's called a high deductible health plan, or ADHP, that is offered through your employer or yourself if you're self-employed. An HSA is where health and wellness meets investing and tax strategy. These accounts really are hidden gems, as they're not only investments, but they can save you a lot in taxes with their triple tax advantaged features. With HSAs, your contributions are tax deductible, your balance grows tax-free when invested, and withdrawals are tax-free when used for qualifying medical expenses. So how does this actually play out? Let's say out of your paycheck, you pay a total of 34% in taxes between federal, FICA, and state. If you contribute $5,000 to an HSA this year, that full amount is deductible for your federal and FICA taxes and possibly state taxes if the state recognizes HSAs. This means that you could save up to $1,700 on your tax bill simply by parking your money into an HSA. These contributions will then grow completely tax-free, and the withdrawals will not be taxed if used for qualifying medical expenses. Now, there is a lot more to consider than the tax savings alone in deciding whether to choose an HSA over another medical plan, so let me know if I should make another video diving deeper into the ins and outs of an HSA. Just like many other tax advantaged accounts, the IRS limits how much you can contribute to an HSA, and for 2023, the limits are $3,850 for singles and $7,750 for family plans, and if you're 55 years and older, you can contribute an extra $1,000. After taking full advantage of an HSA, the next step is to max out a Roth IRA. If you have one of these in your financial game plan, this alone can set you up very nicely for a tax-free retirement. Most brokerages offer Roth IRAs, and they can be set up in less time than it takes you to say Worcestershire sauce. You know, if it takes you like 15 minutes to figure out how to say that. Worcestershire
sauce.
Worcestershire sauce. Anyway, these accounts allow you to contribute after-tax dollars into investments and later pull out those investments tax-free, potentially saving you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes down the road. If you opened a Roth IRA today and put $500 each month into a simple index fund like SPY that gave you an 8% average return, and you did this every month for the next 40 years, with the power of compounding, your account would grow to around $1.7 million that you could then pull out in retirement completely tax-free. This means that with just $240,000 of contributions, you would have generated an additional $1.5 million in tax-free wealth. Keep in mind that in order to contribute to a Roth IRA, you must have earned income from things like a job or a business, and the contribution limit for 2023 is $6,500 or $7,500 if you're 50 years or older. There are also income limitations, so if you're single and make between $138,000 to $153,000, or married filing a joint tax return and make between $218,000 to $228,000, then make sure to check out what's called the backdoor Roth IRA. Their strategy will allow you to work around these income limitations and still take advantage of the tax benefits of this account. If you've made it this far down the list and have been able to maximize all of the previous steps, then it's time to return back to your 401k and max this out. One very nice perk about the 401k that we didn't talk about earlier is that just like a health savings account, your contributions are tax deductible. So by continuing to make contributions, you're able to keep Uncle Sam at bay on this portion of your income. However, he will come knocking in retirement, as the withdrawals from a 401k are taxed. If you're not a fan of the idea of being taxed in retirement, make sure to check with your employer to see if you're able to make a Roth 401k contribution. These act like Roth IRA contributions in that you're taxed upfront on the amount you contribute, but the money you withdraw in retirement is tax-free. Regardless of what type of contributions are offered, make sure to take advantage of your 401k if one is available to you, and save yourself a lot of money either by decreasing your tax liability now or adding to your tax-free retirement in the future. For 2023, the contribution limits are $22,500 or $30,000 if you're 50 or older. Now that we've covered some of the great tax advantage options out there, we can explore our last option on today's list, which is the taxable brokerage account. These can be opened with any brokerage, and while these accounts lack the same tax advantages as ones like a 401k or IRA, they offer a lot more flexibility in terms of accessing your funds. If you've noticed, most of the previous accounts we've discussed have a number of restrictions, including contribution limits, income limits, and age requirements. These all limit when and in what ways you can access your funds, and if you don't follow the rules set by the government, you can face unwanted penalties. With a taxable brokerage account, these limitations are completely removed as you're able to contribute as much as you'd like, invest in just about any stock, bond, and ETF you want, and withdraw your funds at any time without having to jump through any hoops. However, keep in mind that any dividends you receive or capital gains you realize through selling your investments will be subject to taxes. A quick tip to reduce or even possibly eliminate your taxes with this account is to hold onto your investments for at least 1 year before selling. Ideally, you should hold your investments for much longer to avoid being taxed at all while your account grows, but by holding off on selling for at least 1 year, your gains will be taxed as a long-term capital gain, which has lower tax rates at 20, 15, and even 0% if your total income is low enough. So always be aware of the tax effects of anything you buy or sell with a taxable account, and make strategic decisions that align with your long-term financial goals. In general, that will be to simply buy and hold your investments until you're ready to use the funds down the road. In all that we've covered today, we've traveled through the essential steps to make the best use of your income. And again, not all of these steps may apply to you. You may want to move the order around or add additional steps like investing in real estate or starting a business. But of course, this all depends on what's important to you. I hope this video has been helpful in simplifying the path to financial well-being. And if you found value out of it, don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, stay happy, stay humble, and take care.